Okay guys, so we're here with Mitch. He's just started with us, so this will be a good session for you guys to jump in on, because we're going to cover, he's in the position where he's just learning how to train this way, the way I like going really low volume, high intensity. He's done a couple of weeks on it already, so we've got some numbers in our training app, which I'll talk about as well, already set for Mitch. So today's work is going to be trying to beat those numbers. We're in a position where we want to get some muscle on the young lad, so part of that is going to be in this first block. We're just trying to get him as strong as we can, and then we build on that in every subsequent block. What he's got right now is a full body split. The reason for that is he's in the beginning stages. Each muscle group only needs one or two good quality sets to stimulate some growth, and they're ready to be hit again a couple of days after. So we've got him doing a full body split. We're going to go through one of those full body days today. I'll talk to you about the movements we've got in there, why we've got him in there. And because Mitch is new, there might be some pointers around technique and stuff like that that we'll cover as well. All right, so Mitch is going to go through a couple of feeler sets now on his pull-ups. With these, we're going to be careful not to over-fatigue the muscle, because this is already a lot of weight. I'll probably do maybe 3, bro. Wrap it up there. So with a feeler set going into something like a weighted pull-up, what we've got to keep in mind is if we just do too many sets, because he's already doing such a large percentage of his working weight already, we're only going to be adding 10 kilos onto his body weight. How much do you weigh at the moment, bro? He's 90 kilos right now. We're going to be doing, essentially, we're going to do a 100 kilo working set. His feeler set is 90 kilos. So that's not a very big jump. So what that means is we're going to do very, very low amount of reps on that. He's only actually doing the one set there on those pull-ups. I've started the timing here for 3 minutes. We're going to get those 10 kilos on there. Let me just check my phone. He's got numbers in here. I think it was 8 kilos. 8 reps, 10 kilos. So last time we did this, he was able to get 8 reps. Now, this is something to keep in mind when it's a big, heavy compound movement, especially an assisted pull-up. These things are fucking notorious for being really, really difficult to get PBs on in strength. Like you'll just stay at the same number for weeks and weeks and weeks and then finally eke out an extra rep. Let's see what he can do. We've got the timer going. We'll give him that 2 minutes rest and we'll see what he gets. See those lights popping out at the bottom, man. These reps look good. Everything's tight here. He's not swinging through. He's not letting his weight fuck with his form. Good man. Get it. Come on. Yes. Good. Good. Come on. That's it. Good job. How many was that? So that was actually good. That was a good set to see. That was that 9th rep, that last one. You didn't get all the way up. You got a good percentage of the way. You only had about 20% more to go. So you got to make the decision when you're doing this sort of shit. Are you going to track that as a new PB or not? Usually, what I would say is don't track it. So we've written down 10 kilos for 8 reps there. When he comes in next week, he's going to try and get that 9th, and he's probably going to get it because he's only going to make that little 20% strength increase. Now, what he's going to do is his program is set up in a way where we've got 2 sets on most things, and on most things it'll be a heavy set and a back off, which you might have seen on the other videos that I've got up on training. This movement here, it's hard to do a back off set on because we've only reduced 10% of the weight there. So usually with the back off set, we're wanting to reduce by 25-30%. You got 2 options in this case. Either we can go to an assisted pull-up or we can just try and do a straight set and see what he can get. You've just been doing straight sets, yeah? 2.5. Cool. So, kilos strapped to you. So, this is something that actually is worth talking about. Now, you've done that because you've reduced a certain percentage of what's attached on you. When you're doing a pull-up, remember to take the whole weight that you're doing. So, what he's just done there is 100 kilos pull-up, 90 kilos plus 10 kilos on his body. Really, for a back-off, I want him going back down to 75 kilos. Impossible unless we get an assisted pull-up under him. Which, you know what, we can actually do. Let's go over there and do that. So what we're doing here is we're going to do as little assistance as we can. I guess that's about... It's hard to tell on this machine because we don't have kilo weights, but that's very little assistance for Mitchie. So we'll see what we can get. Just remember with this, we want to recreate the grip as it was on the pull up that he just did a moment ago. So I've just moved the top in there for us. It's been about 2 or 3 minutes. Just use that step on the left, bro, just to jump up there. And now, bro, with this one, because it's such little assistance, the first few ones you might fly up, and it might not even be helping you, which is fine. It might just come in for the last couple.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Good. Yes. Good, yeah. Good. Yes. One more. Pull away. Good, dog in. I'll come into this last one. Up. Yes, good. Hold on. Good man. See, so we picked that assistance basically right. We got into the rep range that we were trying to get into. If he's doing this at his own gym, which is where most of his workouts are executed, so Mitchie doesn't usually come into Strength Lab, right? We program for him and he's doing most of these workouts at his own gym. What that means is I'm not going to put in any number for here because machine weights never match up between gym to gym. The numbers that we record in the training app there will all be relevant to Mitch's gym. Whenever he's training at a different gym, and you guys do this for yourselves, if you're trying to beat a number in the logbook and you're using a different machine, don't just jump on a machine and think it'll match up. It never matches up. Just do a feeler set, see if you can find the right weight. Once you select the working weight, forget the rep range you're trying to get to, just go to failure, which is what we did there. We weren't trying to aim for a specific rep range. We decided that would be the weight we worked with and we just went to failure with it. That's it for pull-ups. We'll move on to the next movement. So guys, we've got RDLs now. Now, I've seen Mitchie go through RDLs just once before, so there may be some form and technique improvements that I make with this one. We know that his previous working weight was about 140 kilos, so we're doing our first feeler at 60 kilos. We're just gonna make sure that the form is right, that the range is right, and everything looks good for us to really push to a failure set. With this, let me just lock these in because my plates are a bit slippery. With this first feeler set on something like an RDL, because there's a lot of muscles that we're trying to warm up, and they're risky muscles like a hamstring, I'm going to get him to do 8 reps, maybe up to 10, as long as it's not too fatiguing, rather than just a 3 rep feeler, because with this one, we're truly trying to get form bang on, and we're trying to get some muscles warmed up.
So what you're trying to keep your shoulder out of it as much as you can. Your shoulder coming into it because you're too far. Okay. Yeah.
Good. Good. Don't worry about getting to the ground, just get it stretched through your hamstrings.
Step forward.
Good.
Elbows back. Good. Now just
Good man. Now what you'll notice in those RDLs, it was actually a good set to be watching in on. Mitchie's got good flexibility through his hamstrings. So this bar was getting all the way to the ground in those first couple of reps, then it stopped. It doesn't matter to me whether this bar gets to the ground or not. It should generally be one or the other, just so it doesn't fuck with that progression. So rather you try and avoid it coming to the ground, the way you'll do that is just stay really, really tight through your lats. So keep your shoulder pinned back towards your shoulder blades. It'll keep your lats on, and hopefully that'll get us to stretch before it. Remember with an RDL, we're not worried necessarily about, we're not worried so much with the depth, although that is important rep to rep. We're not trying to get to a specific part on his shin or something like that. What we're trying to do is get those hamstrings to stretch out and then contract again. So if I can get him to stay as tight as possible through these lats, it'll hopefully get that stretch a little bit sooner, so he's not having to travel all the way to the ground. You know what I mean? We're going to experiment with this time around. Let's go again, bro. Also do me a favour, grab a little bit closer together on the bar. Okay, step back. We're also going to make a slight change to your feet a little bit closer together, bro. Shoulders back to down, chest tight. Now, send your ass backwards, keep it pretty hard. Keep it high, don't sit down into it. Just get it stretched through those hamstrings, come back up. Bang, looking good. Go again. Stretch through the hammies, come back up. Good. Make sure you're on the outside blade of your foot. Keep your knees open as you go through this. Bang, good. You need 2 more? Good, 1 more. Bang, good, right. Okay, no, good set. That looked way better. It looks way safer through his lower back. And he's just not having to travel such a big distance to get those hammies to stretch and then contract. We'll go up on weight a little bit, go to a next feeler. That was 60. We know we're working up to something like 140. So we're going to give him 60, 70, 80, 90. We'll give him 90 kilos now. Now with the feelers, we've got the muscles warmed up as we need to. We've got the range correct that we're going to try and work in. Now with these heavy feelers, we're only going to do sets of maybe 2 or 3. It's going to be your call whether you want to do 2 or 3. And the purpose of these is get the nervous system fired up. Again, just really hone in on that form. But just the main thing really is just make sure that Mitchie gets a feel for exactly what the reps need to look like, what the start position is, what the bottom position is, and what the end position is. So that when we get heavy, he's not getting fucked around by the weight. He's going to those positions. Come on, bro. 2 or 3. Back down, chest tight. Send your ass backwards. Get a stretch through your hamstrings, then bang. Fucking up. Yes.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention this, Angela, when
Good.
obviously.
So guys, that was a double or a triple. I didn't see. At 60, 70, 80, 90 kilos. You can leave those on, bro. We'll go to probably 130. That'll be alright, yeah. And that's really, really close to his working set, which is 140. That's really close to it. Sometimes you want to have a feeler set just like a single, maybe a double, really close to your working weight. The reason what I'm gonna do with this is decide whether 140 is correct or if I want him to go up, maybe. Considering I've made the change in his form. So I think with the change in form, it could be easier, it could be harder. I'm gonna see how these 2 reps look, and then I'm gonna make the call. Just double. Stretch, bang. Good, give me 1 more. Up. Yes, right. Okay guys, so we do have previous numbers for this movement. It was 140 kilos, 140 kilos for 8 reps. And the thing is the form was different there. So having done this feeler, this is actually 120, I've got my math wrong, it's 120. Having said that, that second set, that second rep was starting to slow down a little bit, it was fucking with him a little bit. So this is the weight we're gonna go for after his rest. We're just gonna go to complete failure here. Now remember with this, especially because Mitchie's just started doing these, complete failure on an RDL, once you get good at this, and you may be there now, we'll have a look. Complete failure on an RDL looks something like you come to that bottom, you're fighting to get it up, you fight it for 5 seconds, and then it just comes back down. That's what complete failure on an RDL looks like. That's very hard to get to. So we'll see how close Mitchie can get to that. Often when people are first doing this stuff, often when people first start RDLs, failure actually looks more like that last rep will come up and you'll just know if you go for the next one, it's a bit risky. I'd probably rather you do be safe than sorry though, because with an RDL, you can fuck yourself up. Like if you go for that last rep and your form isn't bang on, your lower back goes out the window. So we'll see what Mitchie gets. We, ideally, if we've done this right, are going to get something between a 6 to 8 rep range. But again, once he latches onto that bar, he's forgetting about the rep range. We don't give a fuck. We're just going to go to failure. If that means he gets 3 reps, or if it means he gets fucking 12, either way, getting to failure is the important bit. All right, Mitchie's going to go into his working set. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to make the call whether we do a second set on this. It's going to depend on how close he gets those hamstrings to failure here. Let's see what he does. Okay, get back tight. Bang. Good, fucking oath, good form. Yes. Fucking oath, man, come on. Good, keep those lats on, shoulders back towards your hips. Send your ass backwards, get a stretch, come back up, bang, up, 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 good. Up. Yes, yes, fight, fight, fight. Fucking oath, good call. Bang. Pull, bro, shoot your hips forward. Fucking oath. Good man, let's go. That's it. Fucking very happy with that. Mental. Good set. That was a magic set. So for someone who's just started this type of training, that is, like, I've got dudes who, I've been trying to do this sort of training for like 6 months and they still can't get to that place. So that was magic. You can see there how much he fought for those last couple of reps. He could have called it earlier than that, but he knows how his body's working. He knows that he won't be thrown out of position. Don't try and recreate that type of set if you're not 100% confident with a movement like this. But the bar path stayed bang on, that was perfect. So with a set like that, I would probably leave it at 1 set. You gotta make the decision based on how many more movements you've got to do that day, whether you're gonna be able, whether doing a second set is even useful compared to how much it's gonna just fuck you. I think with this sort of movement, because we're so focused on a strength gain rather than trying to give him really beefy hammies in this block, as long as we make a strength gain like that, we've done what we needed, we can move on to the next movement. So we're calling it there. How many reps was that? We can. 8 reps. So 120 for 8. I'll just show you guys, in case you haven't seen. So this is our training app here. Is that coming up on the camera?
Yeah.
So I can do 120 guys for 8. And I'll save that. What you'll find is we've got some numbers here. For example, with the neutral overhead, when Mitchie comes in next week, he'll see his previous best last week was 30 kilos for 5 reps. So he knows what number to beat. For the back off, he went 22.5 kilos for 10 reps. He knows what number to beat. So once you've set your numbers in this sort of program, it's easy as you come in and you just do the work to beat those numbers week to week. That makes sure that you get stronger rather than just doing what feels hard on the day and hoping that it's more than you did last week. Okay guys, so next movement is a neutral overhead press, which is just getting some feeler sets out here. I've got him doing a neutral rather than a real wide military press, because I'm trying to get his delt really strong through a big range of motion here. What you'll notice is he's tapping the dumbbells on his delts at the bottom of each rep. That's going to be useful when we go to these heavier weights, because it's going to make sure he actually gets to the beginning of the rep every rep and doesn't start cheating himself by reducing the range of motion. Pretty dump him there, bro. He's going to do feeler sets. We've got numbers in here. So we got 30 kilos for 5 reps, but that was doing a military press rather than a neutral. So Mitchie's going to decide, he's going to do his feelers. I reckon Mitchie, just do a feeler set at 17.5 of just 2 reps, because that'll be easy. Make sure that feels alright, so you have neutral position. Elbows a little bit closer together at the bottom, just the bottom. Yeah, great. Good. What we're doing here, guys, is we know we're going to see if 30 kilos is the right weight, considering the form change. So I think the next feel in which you'll be, depending on how it felt, if I was you, I'd grab, what do you think, 22s? 22s, yeah. So he's going to do 22s, see how they feel. If it's starting to feel heavy, you might decide that we're going to stick with the 25s, or if they fly up, then we might go for those 30s. Let's have a look. Yeah, these are fighting him a little bit. I would just do one more. Bang. Okay, good. Well done. Okay, so those are pretty heavy. I reckon we're probably going to stick with those because that second rep was pretty slow, or at least starting to slow down. So we're going to stick with the 22.5s. We'll see what we can get. I think this is going to be right for something like a 6 to 8, but I'm not sure. After this 3-minute rest, with the shoulders, doing feeler sets, even though it doesn't seem like a lot because it's 12.5 kilos and then 17.5 kilos, that fatigue still does add up. So what we'll find is after 3 minutes, when we go back into those 22.5s, those first 2 reps will move a lot quicker. And so it won't be as hard. We may have undershot the weight here. He may end up getting more than 6 to 8 reps, but we'll just see. We'll see in 2 minutes. Guys, it's been 3 minutes. We'll go for this set and see what we can get. Yes. Good. Good. Well done. Keep them coming. It's all you. Make me come in for at least one rep. Let's go. Bang. Come on. Keep pushing. Still. Let's go. Let's go. Good. Keep pushing. Work for it. This is the last rep. Keep patient. Keep working for it. Good man. Control it down. Good. What was that? 6? Okay, we've got 6 reps. You basically picked this feeler set exactly right. 22.5 for 6. So I'll put that into the app here. So now we've got to back off on this weight. I think with this we're going to reduce by 30%. When we're closer to a 6 rep failure point, I would tend to reduce by 30%. Because reducing by a smaller amount is not going to get us out to that rep range that I want. Now, with a working weight of 15.75 as a back off, we've got a choice to make whether we go up or down from what that number is, because obviously that's in the middle. I reckon with Mitchie, because he's reasonably strong, I'm going to say go to the one up from that. So we're going to go 17.5 kilos. It's going to be just less than a 30% drop off, and we'll see what he can get. It might be good to talk about movement selection here. We're on a full body day, right? So how do you structure a full body day? Well, the easiest way to think about when you're planning out a full body day is we need to have a heavy press in there with a tricep lockout. We need to have a heavy pull in there. We need to have a heavy leg movement in there. We want to have a heavy bicep in there. Not necessarily a heavy tricep because we're doing that already with the heavy push. And doing a lot of tricep work can lead to like tendonitis and shit like that. So just, tennis elbows, just stuff like that. So those things you definitely want in the program, but his days don't just have 4 movements. We've got about 5 or 6 in each day. So the way that I do that when I set up this training block is I think about what I need to hit in the week, and then I sort all that out in the days, making sure that it fits somewhat around the template that I just gave you. It needs to have a heavy push, a heavy pull, a heavy leg, and a heavy bicep. But then other than that, I'm sort of playing around and just thinking what I need to hit in the total week and just peppering that in over the course of the program. We're going to get as much as we can out of a full body split, get him as strong as we can, get as much muscle on there. At some point, especially because you've seen where he can push himself to, like for example with those RDLs, because he's going to get really strong really quickly, pretty soon we're going to get to a point where he's not going to be ready to train a muscle group again with only a day's rest. Like if he trains on Monday and goes back in on Wednesday, he's going to be doing so much on say an RDL that his hammies just won't be ready to train again. So at that point we're going to go something to like an upper lower split. Get as much as you can out of a full body split, then go to an upper lower, get as much as you can out of that, then go to something like a push pull legs. Is usually the best advice. All right guys, last thing we're going to do is a superset, just so we don't run out of time. We've got a bench press and a bicep curl with dumbbells. So this will be good. You can sit in on how to do feeler sets leading into a superset and how you match that up. So we know that for his dumbbell bench press, we're working up to 35 kilos. Maybe just do a quick feeler, bro, on 20. At this point, guys, you use that bench behind you there, Mitch. At this point, guys, all his joints are warmed up. It's not like he has to warm up through any of the joints. It just has to warm up the movement, how it should feel. So these are just going to be triples for these feeler sets. Work on the right range and then explode up. Bang. Good, well done, bro. With bicep curls, we don't really need feeler sets on those because of just the nature of the movement. It's such an isolation movement. He's got 20 kilos for 8 reps, which is heavy. So there is a chance if he just goes into that, his nervous system in that first rep or 2 is going to be like, what the fuck? And then if you do that, you fuck up the set. So we are going to do one feeler set really close to his working. I'd say 15 kilos, bro. Just do like 3 or 4 reps just to feel it out. That's the only feeler we're going to do on biceps. Okay guys, biceps are going to be ready to go. I want another feeler, maybe 2 on bench press, probably just 1. His working weight was 35 kilos for 5. How are those 20s feeling? Were those fighting you at all? Let's go probably 30 for just a double. Focus on explosiveness through the upwards motion, bro. Bang. Good. Give me one more. Find that body position. Explode. Yes. Good. Well done. Okay. Those look magic. So we're definitely going to go for 35. This is going to be a good PB. His previous best is 35 kilos for 5 reps. The lower the reps you were able to get last week, the less chance of you getting a PB. It's just that simple, because doing another rep compared to 5 is a big percentage increase on last week's effort. If he was doing 20 reps last week and he goes to 21 reps, that's what, a 5% increase in effort. Right now he's gonna go from 5 reps up to 6, so that's like a 25% increase in effort. So you can see it's gonna be pretty fucking good if he gets these 6 reps. We'll give him these 3 minutes, we'll see what he can do. We know we've got a back off set here as well. 25 kilos for 12 reps. That sort of rep range, I'm really confident he will be able to get a PB on. So when you come into this sort of set, guys, with this first set, 35 kilos for 5 reps, I'm gonna be pretty fucking happy if he gets a full rep PB, if he gets 6 reps. This is where half reps come into it. Like this week, if he grinds out and he lets his body feel what half a rep feels like, even if he doesn't end up getting it, it does translate over, you know what I mean? He'll make a half a rep increase this week, and the following week, you'll get that full rep. So we'll give him 3 minutes, we'll see what he can do. Feet in the ground, explode up. Good. Let's go. Bang. Yes, fight. Good, go again. Bang. Up. Keep fighting it. Good man. Be patient with it. Let's go. Let's go. Get them together. Keep pushing. Good. One more, brother. Fight for this one. It's not going to want to come up. Get up. Push. Yes. Lock. Fucking up. Good man. Try for one more. Feel that half rep. Bang. Let's go. Nah, no. Good man. Fucking up. Good effort. We're not going to get a PB on that. It's just too close to his actual max there. Give him about 30 seconds. One last thing, just a bicep curl that we'll show you. See if he gets a PB on this. Now with a superset, when you're doing this sort of work, you don't want to go straight into the other movement. You want to have just a minute, let your nervous system calm down a little bit. Give yourself the best shot at getting a PB with this second movement. It's going to be your call, Mitchie, when you're ready, bro. It'll just be 20 kilos. We try and beat 8 reps, right? Yes. Good oath. Yes. Good. Fight them, bro. They're not going to want to come up. Get them up. Fight. Get past that mid-range. Good. One more. You need to get it past that middle point and it'll come up. That's it. Done. Well done. How many was that? 8. So you can see, low reps. It's really hard to get PBs, especially when you can go to the place he goes to, because he can get to proper failure like that. All right, Mitchie, come over here, man. I know you got to rush off to work. So, guys, hope you got a lot out of that. Like, again, it's only in week 3 for Mitchie. I just wanted to show you how you should be training. How so many, you can see from the way he's doing this. Like, you spend a lot of people out there just sort of wasting their time, not going to the place they need to. He's going to have some big improvements. So we'll give you an update on Mitch over the next few weeks. We're still figuring out where his diet needs to be at. I'm still learning how his body works. So in a few weeks' time, we'll give you an update when he's looking jacked and ripped, and I'm happy. Guys, I hope that helped. Hopefully you get something out of that for your own training. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.